This is Garrett Fry, the 3D digital matte painting sequence lead for the cemetery sequence. We're taking a look at shot 1843. So let's go ahead and play that. So you can see in this shot, we're starting from back here and really pushing in close on this gravestone here. This gravestone is clearly the center of focus on this shot. But the problem is that this gravestone is really boring. And so you're going to want to replace this gravestone with something that is much better. And to do that, what you're going to want to do is make something that is larger than what this gravestone is. If you were to, let's say, make an obelisk or something, and it were to come through here, and it's like this area here and on this side would have to be replaced with a background, and you don't want to do that. That's too much of a pain. So replace it with something bigger. If you were to do that, it would just, the work would be absolutely unnecessary and be a big pain. So make it slightly larger, make it the center of focus. If you take this gravestone and let's say you just rotate it just a bit, then you can get more of an edge on that gravestone, and you can play the light off of that gravestone much better than what's currently in there right now. So you look at this tree, it has more of a rounded edge on it, but we get a lot more light on that edge. And so that's what I would recommend here. Use a different gravestone, turn it just a little bit so you get more light on that edge, and make it really, really interesting. You also have this area over here, and this area over here, and this area over here. So you can go through and add gravestones throughout, which you should be doing as per our direction for the shot. But you want to make sure that this retains the center of interest for the shot. You don't want to have something over here stealing the show from this guy over here, because this is the point of the shot. It has to do with the story narrative. Even though on set they weren't able to actually physically remove this gravestone and put something else there, we're doing it in the post-production. So here at the head of the shot, there's a lot of room to put other gravestones here. These gravestones can be closer to camera. They can go off of screen really quickly, which is kind of a cool look to have the camera kind of floating through these gravestones. And so you have a lot of room to play all over here. Okay, so because this is a moving camera move, all of the gravestones that you add are going to need to be projected onto something, if that be a card. Maybe the stuff back here can be on a card, and then when you get closer up here, it's going to have to be more complex in your geometry. As to how complex that needs to be has to do with this camera move and just throwing geometry in there and seeing how much things parallax. You're going to want to make decisions about where you put your cameras. If you put it at the head of the shot or the end of the shot or in the middle, are you going to split up your gravestones between two different projection cameras? Are you going to put a patch camera in there? And so there's a lot of a technical setup that you'll need to do to this shot even before you start painting. But the challenge is really cool, and the payoff, I think, for this shot will be really fantastic. Before starting out on the shot, it's really important to familiarize yourself with the extensive photo reference in the library. It is worthwhile to do quick matte painting concepts so you can start to understand what kind of photography works for what particular situation. Also, make sure you're utilizing the asset library, especially for those shots that require continuity between environments. These assets can be a huge help, and remember that every asset has high resolution photography, so if the asset is not high enough resolution when rendered, you can overlay it with photography.